What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and don't want to do any kind of clickbait here. The stock that we're going to be looking and talking about is Shopify. That is ticker symbol SHOP. That is one that we're about to roll a quick 7 to 8 second clip about Mr. Wonderful, aka Kevin O'Leary, showing that he is bullish on Shopify. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Today.
All right, good stuff. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful.
Shopify continued digitization of America, and when you put your business on Shopify, you get 100% gross margin. You don't pay Amazon anything.
All right, as you can see that, so Shopify. Basically, with the overall pandemic, everyone is going out and creating a store, like Mr. Wonderful talked about. Guess what? You don't have to pay a certain amount of margin to XYZ to make it. If you have the traffic coming in, you have to, of course, pay for advertising the site and domains and things like that. But that being said, overall, like, you really control the overall the experience for the consumer or the customers coming to your site. If you're selling cat toys, if you're selling anything from jerseys or whatever, Shopify really, drop shipping and all that stuff has really blown up again since this overall pandemic and people being a little bit more entrepreneurial. That being said, we're here for the chart. So looking here at the chart here, of course, Shopify has been an absolute beast here with the continuous grind since the very bottom here in February and March, making a nice little, if you want to call it strategically, a double bottom here, and just continue to grind higher. Really holding between that 21 and 34. Again, this is what the two EMAs that we always talk about on the trend. So this trend is still wanting to go higher. What are we seeing right now? It's kind of a little bit consolidating here. So by consolidation, that doesn't mean a bad thing. It just means that we're slightly consolidating here. It doesn't mean the downtrend's coming in. You can call this a flag. You can call this a wedge. You can call it whatever. You can be politically correct about it. I just call it the consolidation pattern. What you're seeing here is a slight little downtick, kind of coming in between the 21 and 34. And really having these moving averages and everything starting to compress into each other. So you're seeing these candles getting shorter, but you're still seeing the movement still trying to go upwards. You can see here again on the volume slightly consolidating here, which is not a bad thing as well, unless there's some kind of bad news coming out, which again, you never know. That's the stock market. Have fun. Don't risk your whole life savings on one stock. That being said, with the RSI and volumes on oscillator, they're basically dormant. They're just waiting for something. They want to wake up this sleeping bull or bear. We don't know yet. And it has to prove itself. As of right now, it's just really in that consolidation pattern, looking for potential to break out. What we need to see here, actually, is to really see it break some very short-term movement here. So we're going to do a quick fib here. We really need to see it above that 1050. So that 1050. Need to see it above that 618 level. That's a pretty key level within the Fibonacci retracement. So that, again, you can see that multiple times across the last couple weeks where it has kind of failed around that 1050 level. You kind of see this overall position that I have. This was kind of a get out of dodge kind of scenario, which I no longer in shop, but I'm looking to add potentially to get back into Shopify. That being said, again, we really want to see this above. I like to see things kind of confirm, maybe play really small size if I decide to buy in early, because again, sometimes if you buy in early, then you're kind of really guessing on which way the movement can go, but looking for this to really consolidate, potentially start kicking higher. So with the 5 and 8 haven't really aggressively crossed through the 21. So again, still leaning a little bit more on the bullish side of things. On top of the parabolic SAR, which is these little purple dots here, really giving it the uplift and that trend to continue going higher. Again, with that previous movement of the quarter, really just taking it out of the park, kind of consolidating and coming back down. This is kind of like really swaying with the overall economy in the sense of like, okay, is the pandemic over? Is the virus over? Are people not doing this anymore? Is this going out of favor with the hedge funds and the Wall Street folks? Or is it just another quick stock that just ran up and then now it's going to come back down? If you really can see here, if you just kind of do a little bit of basic analysis here, it's been holding that 34 quite consistently over the last 3 or 4 months. So it's a great sign, but again, that doesn't matter what happened in the past. We care what's happening in the future. So looking for, again, the things really come down to around the 50 SMA, which is that red line here between the 50. Those are going to be the times where you see the larger funds, the people who might have some equity in it, the longer term stuff, really shake some people out. Because again, the 50-day is basically considered the very much, doing air quotes, the short term, if the people are like investors or a little bit more less active traders who don't watch the market every single day, that 50-day really kind of comes into that, or the 55 EMA really are the two overall moving averages that people a lot of follow. So if the most basic ones are, again, the 50, 200 are the two basic ones as well. So just be mindful of that. So you have to know on all the other folks that are playing on the stock market field on how they could be looking at this. So if this does decide to come down with some aggression, that we could be a nice buying opportunity. As you've seen before, this thing has pulled back for a great buying opportunity. Anything between the 21 and 34 is initial starter position. Again, if it comes down very aggressively, it would be around the probably around the 90 or 950-ish. So basically $70 lower if it really wants to come down. But you don't want to be catching a falling knife. So you have to be, again, this is where technical and fundamentals come in. If they come out and say, actually, we just got hacked and all the information that if anyone has ever bought anything is just out in the open and everyone is credit cards are exposed, that's a huge issue. That's, again, if there's no news or anything drops and it just drops for whatever reason because people just are rotating into Walmart stock or whatever, Johnson & Johnson, that would be a great buying opportunity. So basically, with that consolidation of this low volume doesn't mean that it's going to die. It just means low volume and it's not doing anything. If it was like low volume and it was coming down, that's concerning. We don't want to see that pattern. So it's low volume and it's not doing anything. It's actually trying to grind higher. So that's actually a good sign. Looking here on a weekly side, this is really what really just makes this stock very, very, I think, in my honest opinion, very bullish with this pattern you see here. Really tight consolidation up here. Again, this is the weekly side, so it's much more further out. You're taking a little bit longer data position on this if you're looking here on the weekly side. The RSI, the shake and money flows, which we kind of follow, that's the overall movement within a lot of the hedge funds, the larger firms. Again, this stock is a $1,000 stock, so it's not like anyone can just buy out and buy a bunch of these shares here. That being said, we saw some interesting options activity just on Friday. We're looking here at someone got the 1200 call for November and then June. So basically what I think this is basically someone selling the 120 call here, the 1200 call here, and then buying this 1200 call because they're basically looking for paying down the overall. It's still a debit. They're paying for this. It's not a credit, so they're paying a debit for this, meaning that they're still betting on this going higher. And so how does that look like? So we use Tastyworks here for trading, and I kind of broke it down here. So what we did is we went into the November options tab here, sold that 120, 100 or 1200 there, and then we also bought the one here. So it comes out basically around $85 or $8,500 per contract, and they bought 57 of them. So it's nearly a $500,000 bet. This is a pretty, I don't think this is a hedge fund or anything like that. It's pretty much of an aggressive trade, a smaller firm that could be placing this bet, or just a trader that's very bullish on it. And it's basically saying this individual investor potentially is looking for it not by November, it doesn't get above 1200, and it kind of stays below that into November, and then but after November it wants the stock well above 1200 into next year. So again, November is not too far off. I think we can see some consolidation, potentially even some more pullbacks. Again, with the overall market, again, we have no idea what could be happening in the market because we do not have a crystal ball. So be very well aware of that. And again, this is just the trader didn't ping me or email me on what he's doing here. This is just speculation on what we're seeing here. As well, you're seeing, again, You're seeing some put buying here as well, but this is most likely selling of puts in different various functions of that. But we're seeing, again, we can really just dive into some of these options trades here. Really looking here for like September and October. We were seeing, again, this is not the most aggressive of companies. There's not going to be a lot of the large options trades because you're only seeing like a couple hundred. This is not like an SPY where there's thousands and thousands of open interest on each contract. But this really kind of paints a really interesting picture. So again, people love that 1050. So that 1050 was that overall limit that we looked at. A lot of people, again, a lot of open interest around the 1100. Again, guess what? That's a nice round number that really plays into some algorithms. But you have some further dated stuff, that $1,200 ones. That's one we just talked about. Again, that's pretty far out of the money for October because the move's only $182, and that's within reason, but it seems it's only a 25 delta, so that could be just selling of those particular calls all the way out there. That being said, if you have any more comments, questions, please leave it down below. Join the Discord, check out the Patreon page if you want to support the channel, and as well as the YouTube join button. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.